The room inside the Galactic Council Hall was silent. Every representative from 100 different species sat still, watching the center hologram glow with strange blue light. The message had arrived only minutes ago, and it carried a symbol that no one had seen for over 2,000 years, the crest of the Virial Empire. The Virial were one of the oldest known civilizations in the galaxy. Their ships were said to move faster than light itself, and their wisdom was unmatched. Yet for all their power and age, the Virial were also known to be secretive. They never asked for help, never interfered in the politics of others, and most of all, never allowed outsiders near their young. So when their transmission appeared before the council, the entire chamber froze. The message was short and simple, translated by the council AI into dozens of languages. We, the Virial, request the protection of our hatchlings. We ask for humans to guard them. Gasps echoed around the hall. The insectoid Thrixians hissed in disbelief. The tall, blue-skinned Lunari turned to one another, murmuring in confusion. Even the mechanical Valkyri, who prided themselves on logic, could not process this request. Humans, the youngest species in the council, the ones who had only just joined the galactic community a century ago. The council speaker, a calm being of silver light named Te'ara, slowly rose from her seat. "Are we certain the message is genuine?" she asked softly. The AI confirmed, its voice echoing through the hall. "Confirmed. Origin verified. Message is authentic. Request from the Virial High Nest World." For a long moment no one spoke. Then a gruff voice broke the silence. The representative of Earth, Admiral Jonathan Pike. "Did they say why they want humans?" "No," replied the AI. "They only said, humans know how to protect life." The council erupted into noise again. Arguments broke out. Some called it foolishness, others called it a trap. But the Virial were not known for lies. If they made a request, it meant something great was at stake. Finally, after hours of debate, the decision was made. The council would send a small human team to answer the Virial's request. Admiral Pike knew just who to send. Far from the shining halls of the council, a ship orbited a blue-green planet. The HSS Valor, a medium-class defense vessel, had just completed a long patrol mission when Captain Sarah Kellen received the encrypted orders. She stood in her command room, staring at the glowing screen. "Guard alien hatchlings?" she repeated slowly, raising an eyebrow. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Ramos, chuckled in disbelief. "Captain, that sounds like a joke. We protect stations, convoys, colonies, not alien babies." Sarah didn't smile. She read the message again, her brow furrowed. The request came directly from the Virial. "They don't joke." The crew around her fell silent. Everyone had heard stories of the Virial, the mysterious watchers who never interfered but always observed. Some said they could see the future. Others said they tested species to see who was worthy of friendship. Sarah took a deep breath and turned to her crew. "We've been chosen. I don't know why, but if the Virial trust us, then we'll show them what humanity stands for." She tapped the console and activated the comms. Helm set course for the Virial Nest World. "Engage slipstream drive." The journey took 6 days through the dense web of wormholes that connected the outer galaxy. During that time, the crew of the Valor speculated endlessly. Why would the Virial want humans? What danger threatened their young? But Sarah kept her focus. She spent hours studying old files, reading reports about the Virial's history and biology. According to records, they were peaceful but cautious. Their young were delicate, born with fragile crystalline shells that took months to harden. During that time, they were vulnerable. Still, no one had ever been asked to guard them before. On the 7th day, the Valor exited the slipstream near a glowing planet wrapped in soft blue light. The sensors showed a thick atmosphere rich in oxygen and faint traces of crystalline dust. "Captain," said Ramos, eyes wide, "we're receiving a landing beacon." "They're welcoming us," Sarah nodded. "Take us in." As the ship descended through the clouds, the crew stared in awe. The world below looked like a dream. Giant crystal towers shimmered like mountains, and rivers of liquid light flowed through emerald forests. Strange floating creatures drifted through the mist, glowing softly like lanterns. "This place," whispered Ensign Lee. "It's like walking inside a living jewel." The Valor landed on a smooth landing platform carved from glass-like stone. Dozens of tall, elegant figures waited there. Their translucent bodies shimmered like starlight, and their eyes glowed with deep, gentle colors. The Viril. Sarah stepped forward, helmet tucked under her arm. The leader of the group approached, a tall being whose body radiated faint gold light. "I am Elinara, keeper of the first nest," the being said in a melodic voice. "You are the humans who answered our call." Sarah bowed slightly. "Captain Sarah Kellen of the Human Defense Fleet. We came as requested." Elinara studied her quietly. "Many wondered if you would come. Others said you would refuse, for there is no reward in this mission." Sarah met her gaze calmly. "We don't protect for rewards. We protect because life is precious." For the first time, Elinara smiled, a soft glow spreading across her features. "Then perhaps our faith was not misplaced." The humans followed the Viril through winding crystal corridors until they reached a vast chamber filled with shimmering pods. Inside each pod was a small glowing form. Tiny creatures curled in sleep, their bodies pulsing with soft light. "The hatchlings," Elinara said with pride. "They are the future of our people. But something stirs in the deep forest beyond. Something old and hungry. We cannot fight it. Not without risking the young." Sarah felt a chill. "You mean a predator?" Elinara's light dimmed slightly. "We do not know what it is, but it has taken our scouts. We sense its hunger from afar. It comes closer each cycle." The human captain turned to her crew. "Then we'll set up defenses around this chamber. Motion sensors, drones, automated turrets. We'll make sure nothing gets through." Ramos frowned slightly. "Captain, we don't even know what kind of creature we're dealing with." Sarah nodded. "We'll find out. But whatever it is, we're not letting it touch these young ones." The Viril watched in quiet wonder as the humans went to work. Within hours, portable shield generators were placed around the nests. Drones flew through the corridors, scanning every corner for life signs. Soldiers took positions at key points, rifles ready but steady. Even the Viril engineers were impressed by the efficiency. Humans worked fast, their teamwork smooth and precise. They didn't argue or boast. They simply acted as if protecting others was second nature. Elinara observed silently. "Your people move with purpose," she said to Sarah. "You have done this before." Sarah smiled faintly. "We've had to. On Earth, danger comes in many forms: storms, wild beasts, even our own mistakes. But we always protect our young. That's how we survive." The alien elder tilted her head slightly, glowing softly. "Perhaps that is why we chose you." As night fell over the crystal world, the Valor's lights glimmered against the mist. The humans took turns on watch, their scanners sweeping the surrounding forests. Strange sounds echoed through the trees, distant, mournful cries that seemed almost alive. Sarah stood by the main viewport, looking out toward the horizon. The stars shimmered faintly above the mist. She felt a deep sense of purpose rising inside her chest. This mission was different from any other she had faced. It wasn't about territory or politics. It was about life itself, fragile, innocent life that needed protection. She thought of Earth, of the small blue planet where humanity had learned to fight, to adapt, to endure. And now across the stars, those same instincts had brought them here, trusted by one of the galaxy's oldest species. Lieutenant Ramos approached quietly. "Captain, sensors are picking up movement. Small, fast, just outside the forest line." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "Alert the team. Double perimeter patrols. No risks." Ramos nodded and hurried off. Sarah kept her gaze on the dark forest. A strange shiver ran down her spine. Somewhere out there, something was watching. And for the first time since she arrived, she realized this mission was going to be far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Morning came slowly to the misty world of Virilos. The twin suns rose behind the crystal mountains, sending beams of soft golden light across the valley. The air shimmered, filled with small glowing insects that drifted lazily between tall glass-like trees. The world looked peaceful, almost dreamlike, but Captain Sarah Kellen had learned long ago that appearances could lie. She stood on a high ledge above the first nest, watching her crew work. The humans had built a strong defense overnight. Steel and energy barriers formed a protective ring around the nesting chambers. Drones floated quietly in the air, scanning every shadow and movement. Turrets hummed softly, ready to fire at a moment's notice. Lieutenant Ramos approached, holding a data pad. "Perimeter secure, Captain." We've scanned for thermal and energy signatures, but nothing unusual yet. Sarah nodded, but didn't relax. Keep patrols in shifts. I don't want any surprises. We're dealing with something that hunts the Viril, and that means it's dangerous. Ramos looked uneasy. Do we even know what we're protecting them from? The Viril haven't told us much. Sarah turned her eyes toward the shimmering forest. No, but whatever it is, it's close. I can feel it. Inside the crystal chamber below, the Viril hatchlings slept within their pods. Each small form glowed faintly, a heartbeat of light and color. The adult Viril moved carefully among them, their translucent forms pulsing with slow rhythm. They seemed nervous, their bodies dimmer than before. Ilanera, the nest keeper, approached Sarah as she came down the steps. Your defenses are impressive, Captain, she said gently. Our people have never used such things. We rely on barriers of light and song, but your tools seem alive in their own way. Sarah smiled softly. They are. They respond to us just like your crystal barriers respond to you. Both serve the same purpose and protection. Ilanera tilted her head, her glowing eyes thoughtful. It is strange. So many species in the galaxy value strength or wealth, but humans, you value protection above all. Sarah nodded slowly. Because we know what it's like to lose. On our world, we learned early that life is fragile. We learned to fight for every bit of it. For a moment, neither spoke. The hum of the shields filled the chamber, mixing with the faint sound of the hatchlings breathing within their glowing shells. Then a sound echoed through the valley, a deep, rumbling cry that seemed to shake the air itself. It came from the forest beyond the hills far away, yet powerful enough to make the ground tremble. Sarah's hand went instantly to her sidearm. Ramos's voice came through the comlink. Captain, long-range sensors just picked up something big, moving fast. It's heading straight for the outer perimeter. Ilanara's glow dimmed in alarm. It has returned. The humans sprang into action. Drones took flight, rising high above the forest canopy. Their cameras streamed data to the command post. Sarah stood beside the holo table, watching the blurry outlines appear. At first, the images showed nothing but trees and mist. Then a movement. Something huge was moving among the crystal trunks, sliding silently. Its heat signature was faint, as if it absorbed the light around it. Zoom in, Sarah ordered. The image focused. The creature was enormous, shaped like a serpent but covered in dark metallic plates. It had many eyes glowing blue and long limbs that moved like a spider's. It moved with purpose, silent and deadly. What is that thing? Whispered Ramos. Ilanara, who had joined them, spoke softly. We call them the Skarn. They were once creatures of our world, predators. But something corrupted them long ago. Now they feed on the energy of our young. They drain the light from the hatchlings until nothing remains. Sarah's jaw tightened. How long have they been attacking? For many cycles, Ilanara admitted sadly. Each time we tried to stop them with light barriers and energy waves. But they adapt. They learn. That is why we called for you. Sarah looked up sharply. Because we fight differently. Yes, Ilanara said. Because you fight to protect. The first attack came at dusk. As the twin suns dipped below the mountains, shadows deepened. The mist thickened, curling around the perimeter fences. The air felt heavy, charged with tension. Private Lewis, stationed at the northern post, heard it first, a faint scraping sound, like metal against stone. He adjusted his visor and peered into the haze. Command, I've got movement. North sector, 20 meters out. Static crackled. Sarah's voice came through, calm and firm. Stay sharp. Don't fire unless you see it. Then suddenly, a flash of motion. The creature burst from the fog, massive and fast. Its long body shimmered with dark armor, and its glowing eyes reflected the human's lights. Lewis shouted, opening fire. The plasma bolt struck its chest, but the creature only roared, a terrible echoing sound that vibrated in every bone. All units engage, Sarah commanded. The valley erupted in light. Turrets came alive, firing in bright bursts. Drones circled overhead, raining down controlled beams. The creature twisted and lashed out with clawed limbs, smashing into barriers, but the shields held. The humans moved with coordination, covering each other, never breaking formation. Ilanara and the other Viril watched in stunned silence. They had never seen such unity, such fearless teamwork. Humans fought not as individuals but as one body, each motion flowing into the next. Reload, Ramos shouted, ducking behind a fallen crystal. Drones, flank it from above, Sarah ordered, voice steady despite the chaos. The creature roared again, its metal plates glowing red from heat. Then, after minutes of struggle, it recoiled, wounded. With a final screech, it turned and vanished back into the forest, disappearing into the mist as quickly as it had come. Silence fell. The only sound was the soft hum of the shields and the humans' heavy breathing. Status? Sarah asked. Minor injuries, no deaths, Ramos replied. But the creature's still out there. It's testing us, Sarah nodded grimly. Then we'll be ready when it comes back. Later that night, Sarah walked alone near the edge of the nesting chamber. The stars of Varelo sparkled faintly through the mist. The world looked peaceful again, but she knew the quiet wouldn't last. Ilanera appeared beside her, glowing softly. You fought with great courage, the alien said. You did not retreat even when faced with death. Sarah smiled faintly. Retreating doesn't help the ones behind you. If we fall back, the young fall too. And we can't let that happen. Ilanara looked toward the hatchlings' glowing pods. The Skarn fear nothing. Yet tonight they fled from you. Perhaps they fear something new. Sarah turned to her. What's that? The alien's voice was gentle. Your unity, your determination, the strength that comes not from weapons but from your hearts. The human captain said nothing, but her eyes softened. She thought of Earth again, of families protecting one another through floods, wars, and storms. It didn't matter where they were in the universe. That same spirit followed them everywhere. The next morning, the humans repaired the damage to the shields. The V-Real, now more trusting, worked alongside them, learning to handle human tools and systems. The once silent aliens now spoke openly, their glowing lights brightening with curiosity. Ramos smiled as a young Viril worker tried to copy his gesture of tightening a bolt. Like this, he said kindly, showing the motion. The alien imitated it perfectly, giving a soft chime of pride. Sarah watched the scene from a distance, her heart warming. Something was changing here, something beyond duty. The Viril had called them for protection, but what they were learning went deeper than defense. They were learning trust. Yet as the humans and Viril worked together, the scanners on the outer edge began to flash red. Multiple heat signatures appeared, not one creature this time, but several. Ramos ran to the command console. Captain, we've got incoming. At least 5 large entities approaching from the western ridge. Sarah's expression hardened. So the Skarn are coming back. Ilanara's voice trembled. If they attack together, the hatchlings will not survive. Sarah's voice turned cold, filled with resolve. Then we hold the line again. We don't run, we protect. Her command rang through the comms, sharp and clear. The humans rushed to positions. Shields powered up, drones launched, and every turret hummed with energy. The Viril this time didn't hide. They stood behind the humans, watching, ready to assist. In the far distance, the forest glowed faintly red. The Skarn were coming, their metal bodies reflecting the dying light of the suns. Sarah raised her hand. Positions ready. Remember why we're here. Not for medals, not for fame, for life. And as the roar of the Skarn filled the valley once again, the humans stood firm, guardians of a world that was not their own, yet one they had already chosen to protect with all their strength. Darkness fell over Varelos faster than expected. The twin moons hid behind rolling clouds, leaving the valley beneath in deep shadow. The mist that rose from the forests thickened, curling like living fingers around the crystal towers. The world had an eerie silence now, broken only by the faint hum of human drones and the soft glow of the hatchlings' pods. Captain Sarah Kellen stood on the command balcony of the nesting chamber. Her eyes scanned the perimeter monitors, sharp and unblinking. She could sense the tension, the anticipation that filled the air. This night was different. She knew it. Lieutenant Ramos joined her, voice low but steady. Captain, they're moving faster than yesterday. Multiple signatures, at least 5 major targets. They're coordinated. Sarah didn't respond immediately. She was calculating, thinking about the layout of their defenses, the terrain, the possible angles of attack. Then she turned to her team. Everyone listen carefully. Tonight we hold the line. Do not fire unless I give the order, but be ready for anything. These creatures in the Skarnets are clever. They're fast, they adapt. But we are humans. We adapt faster. Stay together. Cover each other. Protect the hatchlings. Her words were short, but every soldier understood. Years of training had taught them one thing above all. Humans fight not just with weapons, but with will. In the distance, the mist shifted. Shadows moved in unnatural patterns. The Skarn emerged, massive and terrifying. Their bodies were a mixture of organic flesh and dark metal. Eyes glowed blue and red, scanning the perimeter. Long, spindly limbs allowed them to climb the crystal formations with incredible speed. They moved like shadows, silent yet threatening. The humans held their positions, the turrets glowing softly, ready. Drones hovered above, their sensors tracking every movement. The Viril, for the first time, stayed close behind the humans, their luminescent bodies pulsing nervously. They had never seen combat like this. One of the creatures let out a chilling screech, a sound that seemed to vibrate through both body and mind. The hatchlings quivered within their pods. Sarah clenched her jaw. "Not a sound," she whispered. "We keep them calm." The Skarn attacked in waves. One leapt over a ridge and crashed into the outer fence. Plasma bolts hit its armor, sparking and sizzling. Another Skarn slithered along the misty ground, its glowing eyes searching for gaps in the defenses. Private Lewis fired his rifle, bolts striking true. The creature hissed, twisting and retreating just a few steps. "It's not stopping," he shouted, adrenaline surging. Sarah's voice cut through the calm. "Focus, you can't just shoot blindly. Lead it to the barriers, trap it. Move as a team." The humans reacted instantly. With practiced precision, they guided the creatures toward energy barriers, using coordinated fire and sound signals. Each Skarn that approached was met with a wall of disciplined resistance. They were strong, fast, and intelligent, but humans were relentless. They did not panic, they did not hesitate, and they did not retreat. The Viril watched silently. They had never witnessed courage like this. Not from their own kind, not from any species in the galaxy. The humans moved with purpose, with discipline, with instinctive unity. Their protection extended not just to themselves, but to the fragile young. And that was something the Viril had almost forgotten existed in the universe. One Skarn, larger than the rest, leapt toward the nesting chamber itself. Its eyes glowed intensely as it lunged for the pods. Sarah's heart raced, but her voice was calm, commanding. "Turrets, left flank. Drones, intercept. Hold the chamber." The humans acted instantly. A wall of plasma and energy surged toward the creature, forcing it to recoil. Private Lewis threw a tether grenade, wrapping the Skarn's limbs in shimmering energy. The creature thrashed, but the humans worked together, pushing it back from the nesting chamber. Elinera floated closer to the humans. "Your people. They do not falter," she whispered. "Even when the young are in sight, even when death approaches, you hold and protect." Sarah glanced at the glowing pods. The hatchlings were unharmed, their light steady. "That's what we do," she said quietly. "We protect. That's what makes us human." The battle continued through the night. The Skarn attacked relentlessly, testing every weakness. But the humans adapted faster than their enemies. Each time a Skarn changed tactics, the humans responded in perfect coordination. When one turret was disabled, another took its place. When one drone was destroyed, another filled its patrol path. The Skarn began to falter. They had underestimated the humans' determination, their ingenuity, their instinctive need to protect life. With every wave, their attacks became more desperate, their movements erratic. At one point, a Skarn managed to breach a minor perimeter barrier. Lieutenant Ramos fired directly at it, dodging a lunge that would have impaled him. Private Lewis, seeing the creature distracted, aimed and fired a precise plasma bolt to its core. The Skarn screamed, staggering backward. Sarah shouted over the comms, "Push them back! No ground lost!" The humans advanced, forcing the Skarn toward the misty forests. The creatures hesitated, then, one by one, retreated into the shadows from which they had emerged. By dawn, the valley was quiet again, the mist curling softly around the crystal towers. The humans surveyed the aftermath. Drones flew over the perimeter, scanning for signs of lingering threats. Turrets were damaged but repairable. Not a single hatchling had been harmed. The humans were exhausted, covered in sweat and dust, yet none wavered in their vigilance. Elinara approached Sarah, her glow brighter now, radiating a mix of awe and relief. "You have succeeded where we feared failure. You have protected the young when all seemed lost." Sarah shook her head. "We didn't succeed because it was easy. We succeeded because we refused to fail. That's what humans do." The Viril elder's glow pulsed slowly. "I see now, this is why we chose you. Not for strength, not for weapons, not for cunning, but for your heart. You protect life, and even when it is not your own." Sarah felt a warmth spread through her chest. She had heard tales of humans' courage on Earth, but she had never realized how far that instinct could reach. Here, on a world so far from home, their humanity had become the most powerful weapon in the galaxy. After the battle, the humans worked alongside the Viril to repair the nest defenses. While they repaired, the young hatchlings stirred, curious and glowing softly. The Viril adults moved closer, now trusting the humans fully. Ramos laughed quietly, adjusting a turret. "Captain, I think they like us now. They're watching, learning, even smiling, I think." Sarah smiled faintly, though fatigue weighed on her. "They're learning more than that. They're learning that life can be protected, that some creatures will fight not for conquest, but because it is right." Ilinara floated nearby, her light pulsing gently. "You have given our species something we almost forgot: hope, courage, trust. We have watched many races rise and fall, yet none have this balance of strength and care." "You do?" Sarah nodded, letting the words sink in. Humanity had earned a place here, not through dominance, not through weapons, but through the simple, undeniable act of defending the innocent. As the twin suns rose over the horizon, the humans and the Viril stood together, watching the light spread over the misty valley. Sarah looked out at the forest where the Skarn had retreated. Somewhere out there, the predators were waiting, but she was not afraid. She turned to her crew. "We've done more than survive the night. We've shown what it means to protect. The Skarn may return, but we'll be ready, because protecting life is what we do." Her words were firm, full of conviction. The humans nodded, their resolve unshakable. Around them, the Viril observed silently, their light bright and steady. They had seen the truth. Humans were unlike any other species in the galaxy. Brave, disciplined, fearless, and protective of life itself. For the first time in centuries, the Viril felt safe leaving their young in the hands of another species. Not because they had to, but because they knew humans would never fail. And in that moment, humanity became more than explorers or warriors. They became guardians, the chosen protectors of life in a world that was not their own. The morning sun of Vrilo spilled through the crystal towers, casting long streaks of gold and blue across the valley. The mist had begun to lift, revealing the forest beyond, quiet and still. The Skarn had retreated into the shadows, at least for now, and the humans had spent the night reinforcing the outer defenses and repairing damaged drones. Captain Sarah Kellen walked among her team, checking on everyone. Though exhaustion marked their faces, there was pride in their eyes. They had survived the night, defended the hatchlings, and proven themselves against a predator no one had dared face before. Yet Sarah felt that the most important answers were still ahead. She had requested a meeting with Elinara, the nest keeper, hoping that the Viril would finally reveal the reason behind their unprecedented trust. The humans were led through the shimmering corridors to a chamber unlike any other on the planet. Crystal walls rose high above, refracting the sunlight into hundreds of tiny rainbows. In the center of the chamber, a pool of liquid light reflected the sky, and around it stood the Viril High Elders, their forms radiant and serene. Ilinara gestured for Sarah and her team to stand before them. The glow of the elders filled the chamber with warmth, but their eyes held a weight of centuries of knowledge few humans could imagine. One elder, taller than the rest and glowing with deep gold, spoke first. "Captain Kellen, humans of the HSS Valor, you have proven yourselves beyond all expectation. Yet you may still wonder why we entrusted our most precious treasures to your care." Sarah stepped forward, bowing slightly. "We are honored, but yes, we would like to understand why humans were chosen." The elder's light pulsed slowly. "We have watched your species from afar for many cycles. We have observed your wars, your struggles, your triumphs, and in all of it we noticed something remarkable, something no other species possesses to the same degree." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. "Humans protect life even when it is not their own. You risk yourselves for others, not for power, not for glory, but because it is right." Sarah nodded slowly. "We learned that on Earth. Life is fragile, and protecting it is the responsibility of all who can." The elder's glow brightened, almost like a smile. "Exactly. You fight for life itself. You endure, you adapt, and you unite in ways that even we have forgotten. That is why you were called." The Viril High Elders shared more of their story. Long ago, they explained, their species had been guardians of life across multiple worlds, but over millennia, a part of their essence had grown distant, almost cold. They had become focused on preservation of the species as a whole, rather than protection of the young individually. "This is why we called you," Elenara said softly, "not because we lacked strength or knowledge, but because we lacked what humans possess naturally, compassion and instinctive courage to protect the weak." Sarah felt a lump in her throat. She glanced at her team. Lieutenant Ramos, Private Lewis, and the others stood silently, listening, understanding the magnitude of what had been said. They had fought bravely, yes, but they had done so simply because it was the right thing to do, and now that simple truth was being honored by one of the oldest species in the galaxy. The elder continued, his voice calm but firm. "Your people have a gift. You have the courage to stand between danger and innocence, even when death itself is near. That is why the Skarn fled from you. They sensed a force they could not understand, a unity and determination rooted in something greater than mere survival. That force is humanity." Sarah's heart swelled. She had led her crew into countless dangerous situations, but this recognition felt different. It was not for medals or rank or reputation. It was because they had embodied a principle that transcended species, the principle of life and of guardianship. Elenara gestured to the hatchlings in the pods nearby. "Observe them," she said. "These young ones will grow and inherit a galaxy full of challenges. They will face dangers we cannot foresee, but because of you they know trust, they know protection, and in time, they will remember not only their own kind but the humans who safeguarded them when they were most vulnerable." Ramos whispered to Sarah, "Captain, that's incredible. They're saying we're teaching them more than defense. We're teaching them hope." Sarah nodded, feeling the truth in his words. "Exactly. Protection isn't just about weapons. It's about showing that life matters, that it is worth fighting for. That's what makes humans unique." Elenara's glow intensified. "For the first time in centuries, we feel secure in trusting our young to another species. Not because we have no other choice, but because we see in you a reflection of what our people once were. Courage, compassion, tenacity, integrity." The room was silent for a moment, as the humans absorbed the weight of their honor. They were chosen not only as defenders but as teachers, as examples, as living proof that a species could rise beyond fear and selfishness. Over the next few cycles, the humans continued to work with the Viril. They repaired the defenses, strengthened the drones, and taught the Viril how to adapt human tactics to their own methods. But beyond practical instruction, something more profound occurred. The Viril began to open their hearts. They laughed softly, shared stories of their history, and asked questions about humanity. They had never seen a species that valued life as humans did. Their culture was brilliant, precise, and ancient, but often cold and calculated. Humanity brought warmth and instinctive care, and the Viril embraced it with awe. Sarah watched as a young hatchling reached toward the light of a drone, its tiny limbs flailing in curiosity. A human technician, Ensign Lee, gently guided the drone closer. The creature's glowing eyes brightened, and a soft chime of delight echoed through the chamber. Elenara observed, her light pulsating. "This is what we hoped for. Harmony between our species. Guardianship built not on dominance but on trust." Sarah smiled faintly. "That's what being human means. We protect even when it's hard, even when it's dangerous, even when no one asks us to." That evening, the Viril elders gathered the humans once more. They floated above the crystal pools, their forms radiating a serene light that filled the chamber. "Captain Kellen," said the Golden Elder, "we have made a decision. You and your crew will become official guardians of the Nest Worlds. No other species has ever been granted this honor. It is a position of immense trust and responsibility." Sarah felt a surge of pride but kept her voice calm. "We accept this honor, but not for ourselves. For the hatchlings, for life." The elder's glow intensified, almost like a nod. "We do not doubt you, and we believe that your people will teach others in the galaxy what it means to protect, to endure, and to care." The humans exchanged glances. They were not heroes seeking recognition. They were protectors, and now their role had been recognized in a way beyond any medal, any rank, or any title. Sarah stepped forward. "We will not fail. We will protect the hatchlings, your young, and this world as long as we are able. That is our promise." The elder's light dimmed slightly, a sign of contentment among the Viril. then the galaxy will know that humans are a species of guardians. That hope is not lost. That courage exists. That night, as the humans rested in the crystal chambers, Sarah walked alone along the perimeter of the nest. The stars of Virilos shone faintly through the mist, reflecting off the crystalline towers. She paused, thinking about Earth, about humanity, and about the strange journey that had brought them here. Somewhere far across the galaxy, life depended on them now, not just for real life, but the principle of protection itself. Humanity had earned a place as guardians, not through conquest, but through the courage to stand between danger and innocence. Ramos joined her quietly. "Captain, do you think we'll be able to do it? Protect them if the Skarn return?" Sarah looked toward the forests where shadows still lingered. "We'll do more than survive. We'll protect them. That's what humans do. We never give up. And tonight the Viril know that." As the twin moons of Virilos rose above the horizon, the valley glowed softly in their light. The hatchlings slept secure in their pods, unaware of the night's previous danger, and somewhere deep in the forest, unseen but watching, the Skarn lurked, waiting. But one thing had changed. The humans had proven that some creatures would fight not for power, not for greed, but simply because it was right, and that made all the difference. The years passed quickly on Virilos, yet to the humans it sometimes felt like only days. Seasons changed, though the crystal forest remained eternal in their beauty, and the twin suns rose and set with unwavering regularity. The HSS Valor had long returned to human space, but the crew remained bound to the nest world, not as visitors, but as permanent guardians of the hatchlings. Captain Sarah Kellen stood atop a glass platform overlooking the valley. The nests sprawled beneath her, glowing softly in the morning light. The hatchlings, now older and larger, explored the crystal structures with curiosity and cautious excitement. Their luminous shells had hardened and their movements were now purposeful. Beside Sarah, Lieutenant Ramos adjusted the settings on a patrol drone. "Captain, the young ones are learning quickly. Look at that one. It's imitating our patrol routines." Sarah smiled, her eyes scanning the growing creatures. "Good. They need to understand defense, observation, and teamwork. But more importantly, they need to understand trust. That's what makes us guardians." The Viril elders approached, their radiant bodies floating above the nests. Elinara, still luminous with pride, spoke softly. "You have done more than protect our young. You have taught them courage, observation, and caution. Most importantly, you have shown them what it means to trust another species." Sarah nodded. "We've only done what any human would do. Protecting the weak is instinct, but it's good to know that instinct can help more than just ourselves." The elders' light pulsed, a sign of deep appreciation among the Viril. "Your instinct has become a bridge. Through your protection, our species and yours now share knowledge, trust, and honor. This will endure across generations." As the years progressed, the humans became more than guardians. They became teachers, mentors, and friends. They trained the Viril in human tactics, patrol formations, cooperative defense, use of mechanical drones, and adaptive strategies. In return, the humans learned to use Viril light-based barriers, their unique crystal communication devices, and their healing techniques. Young hatchlings watched and mimicked both species. They learned to cooperate in ways neither species could have achieved alone. Slowly, a bond formed that would shape the future of the galaxy, humans and Viril, united by protection and trust. One day, Sarah watched a young Viril named Lyra attempt to lift a drone. She stumbled, almost dropping it, but a human technician guided her gently. Lyra's light flared in delight as she finally succeeded. Ramos chuckled. "She's going to be a strong guardian someday." Sarah nodded, her eyes thoughtful. "And she'll remember that humans were here first and that we fought for her life and the lives of all her kind. That memory will shape her world forever." News of humanity's role on Virilos spread across nearby star systems. The story reached distant planets where species had long doubted humans' capabilities. They had always been young, impulsive, and underestimated. But now the galaxy began to recognize humans as a species of guardians, not conquerors, not merchants, not warriors for hire, but protectors of life itself. Captain Kellen received messages from other planetary leaders offering their respect and admiration. But she remained humble. "We didn't protect them for fame," she said. "We protected them because it was right. That's what humans do. Years turned into decades, yet the guardianship remained strong. Hatchlings matured into confident young Viril, capable of defending themselves and others. They carried lessons learned from humans: courage in the face of danger, vigilance against threats, and the understanding that life was precious and worth protecting. Elinara approached Sarah one evening, her glow soft against the setting twin suns. "Captain Kellen, the Viril have decided to extend your guardianship beyond this world. Humans will serve as protectors on multiple nest worlds wherever our species is vulnerable." Sarah's eyes widened. "Across the galaxy?" "Yes," Elinara said, "because no other species embodies guardianship like yours. Your courage, your compassion, your unity, it is unmatched." Sarah took a deep breath. She glanced at her crew, now seasoned veterans of countless patrols and missions. "Then we will accept. Not for honor, not for rank, but for life. Every hatchling we protect is a promise kept, a promise humanity always keeps." The first mission beyond Vrilos came swiftly. A distant nest world shrouded in a permanent orange twilight had sent a plea. Predators were moving in, and the local Viril were struggling to maintain safety for their young. Sarah led a team of human guardians, their tactics now refined through years of experience. Drones flew ahead scanning terrain. Shield generators were deployed at strategic points. Each human knew their role intimately, and the Viril followed their guidance without question. As the creatures approached, twisted predators like the Skarn but unique to this world, the humans acted in perfect coordination. Turrets opened fire, drones circled, and the Viril, inspired by human courage, moved confidently to assist. By nightfall, the hatchlings were safe. The predators had been driven back, and the humans had proven once again why the Viril had entrusted them with such responsibility. Elinara, observing remotely through communication crystals, spoke softly. "They learn quickly, but humans teach faster. This is why you were chosen, Captain Kellen. You are more than guardians. You are the bridge to a safer future." Over the years, the legend of humans spread. Other species began to take note. Wherever there was vulnerability, wherever life needed protection, humans appeared not as conquerors, not as overlords, but as guardians and teachers. The galaxy had begun to see humanity as more than a young, reckless species. Humans represented hope, courage, and protection, and the Viril, for the first time in centuries, felt a profound sense of security in sharing their young with another species. Sarah watched the new hatchlings on Virilos one evening, the valley glowing softly in the light of the twin moons. The young ones were curious, exploring the crystal towers, guided by human mentors. Their laughter, their soft chimes filled the valley like music. Ramos stood beside her. "Captain, look at them. They're learning more than defense. They're learning trust, and that trust will last their entire lives." Sarah smiled, her heart full. "Yes, and it will spread beyond this world. Humanity's choice to protect is stronger than any weapon. It will echo across the galaxy." The final ceremony on Vrilos was simple but powerful. The humans, now recognized as lifetime guardians, stood before the Viril elders. Elinara, her glow brighter than ever, addressed them all. "Captain Kellen, crew of the HSS Valor, you have earned your place in history. You protected what was most precious to our people. You did so without hesitation, without selfishness, and without fear. Humanity is now a part of our legacy. You are the guardians of life," Sarah bowed. "We are honored. But the honor belongs to all humans. Protecting life is what defines us, and it always will." The Viril's crystal towers glimmered, and for the first time in centuries, the elders' light pulsed in harmony with the humans' presence. Life had been defended, trust had been established, and hope had been renewed across the stars. Years later, Captain Sarah Kellen, now older and wiser, watched a mixed patrol of humans and young Viril set off to another distant nest world. They moved as one, a blend of species united in purpose. Humans trained, guided, and protected. The Viril followed, confident and strong. A young hatchling approached Sarah, its glowing eyes wide. It chirped a soft musical sound, curiosity, joy, and recognition all in one. Sarah reached out gently, her hand brushing its luminous body. "Remember," she whispered, "life is precious. Protect it, always." And as the hatchling's light pulsed softly against her hand, Sarah knew that humanity's legacy was secure. Across the galaxy, species would remember. When life was threatened, humans would stand as guardians. Fearless, disciplined, compassionate, humans had earned their place not through power, but through courage, care, and unwavering protection. The legend of the Guardians of the Nest World spread across stars and planets, echoing the truth that one species could make a difference, that humanity's heart was its greatest weapon. And somewhere, far in the crystal valleys of Vrelos, the name human became synonymous with hope, protection, and life itself.